We like to keep you updated on stories we've covered in the past on PM, such as the report in May about the village of Cliffe in Northamptonshire. At the time, people there were fighting to prevent the village becoming a dumping ground for nuclear waste. The government approved an application for a low-level radioactive waste site, despite its policy on localism, which says local people should decide on what happens in their area. What's the latest? Well, today the villagers took their case to the High Court in London, and Andrew Bomford has spent the day with them.
Yes, Eddie, this is a case where the government's stated policy of giving power to local people comes up against the need to find somewhere to dump low-level radioactive waste from the nuclear industry. And who wants that on their doorstep? It's meant a long fight against the plans for the people of Cliffe, a small village with lots of lovely chocolate box-style listed houses. The residents' latest skirmish started early this morning.
We've got a few placards. We've got about... How many have we got, Dan?
7 o'clock in the morning, and a bus full of villagers is setting out from Cliffe to London and the High Court.
We are quietly confident. We've taken this a long way, and we've won several battles along the way, and we hope to win this one too.
Somebody has to do something, and what we're doing here is basically what we're allowed to do through the courts.
Long journey.
Yes, we didn't come quite the right way, I don't think.
3 hours later, and the residents are unfurling their banners outside the High Court, competing for space with all those who've turned out to see the Julian Assange case. Inside the court, the argument centred on a claim that the planning inquiry and the government only ever considered a small and time-limited application by the waste company Augean, in the knowledge that the intention was to greatly expand the site once permission had been given. This, their barrister said, was unlawful and irrational. Outside the court, resident Claire Langan said this was all a cynical ploy.
I think they wanted a toehold, if not a foothold. They probably didn't want to scare the natives too much. Many people thought, OK, be quiet, shut up, let it go ahead, it'll all be done and dusted by 2013. They possibly didn't object at the time, thinking, well, it's 2 years, they wouldn't have time to dump a huge amount of waste. But suddenly we find out that was only a starting point, and it could go on for many, many years beyond that, and on a far larger site than anybody envisaged.
It's a claim denied by the waste company Augean. Its chief executive is Paul Blackler.
I don't think that is fair. I think what has happened is that we've been very, very engaged in consultation to make sure people did understand our intention for this application, and it's the one that's clearly why we're in court today. And I think we have made it clear as part of the public consultation process that we want to do more with the site. I think it's a site of national strategic importance, and that is recognised. Yes, sadly, not everybody, and there is a small element of the community that are voicing their disquiet at the application.
It's not a small element. 98% of the local community voted against it.
The referendum was a question of, if you had a choice, would you want this? And sadly, waste management is something that most people, if they had a choice, would say no. But they also have to recognise that society needs to find appropriate facilities to deal with waste.
In June last year, the Community Secretary, Eric Pickles, said he was determined to shift power away from central government to local people. The residents of Cliffe aren't so sure about that. Chris Lucas is from the village.
It leaves me extremely cynical, because we've gone down the localism route. We listened to what Mr. Pickles said about local people deciding. We had referendums in 13 villages. We had a 98% decision by local people that we should not have this dump, and Mr. Pickles completely ignored it, just as he completely ignored the decision of parish councils, the district council and Northamptonshire County Council. So every organ of local democracy has been on the same side of us, and Pickles has just ignored it completely.
And Cliffe will find out if the judge agrees with that argument when he gives his decision tomorrow.
Andrew Bomford updating us, and of course we'll keep in touch with that case.